now everybody knows, well, why come UKAD doesn't catch anybody, USADA doesn't catch anybody, but look how many people that VADA busts, including EPO, growth hormone, Baby Miller, Jean Pascal. I can name all sorts of cases where guys are using 3, 4, 5 different prohibited substances.
So back to my original question. When we talked about the frequency, and we talked once every 10 days, and of course the frequency has to be more than that. Stringent.
And the number of tests that are being performed, and it goes into the word you ask about, stringent.
Stringent, right? And we talked about VADA actually saying on their website 8 weeks standard wise. I'm going to use your term standard wise. 8 weeks prior. So
it's like a sticker on a car in the window. Right. When you go up and they say, well, here's the standard for this car, but we've got all these extra things. We're going to 12 weeks. Therefore, it's going to cost you more money.
Right. So now that we have established that, where let's say 8 weeks prior is the standard, in negotiations, it can go 10 to 12 weeks. And then, of course, everybody would know that because payments have to be issued. And then you're saying stringent, which is the frequency and once every 10. When we hear all of these numbers as just fans of the sport of boxing, this doesn't sound random. Definitely to me, it doesn't sound like it's random because they're telling you 8 weeks prior to about you're going to be tested. You use the word stringent. Let me finish real quick, Vic. You use the word stringent, but we also have you educating us. In 2011, I wrote the tape back and you heard yourself speaking on it. And you said you stand by it. And even today, where someone can use EPO and manipulate this whole system that we're talking about, how is that random or at least unannounced?
I would say that it's better than no testing, but is it foolproof? No, it's not. Why am I openly on almost a daily basis criticizing VADA? But I've got more criticism for WADA and USADA and UKA because they're not as stringent. Your word, one of your new favorite words.
Oh, yes.
VADA. But why do you think I'm constantly pushing for 24/7, 365? And everybody keeps saying, but he can't do this. Even his own fighters don't want to do this, blah, blah, blah. Listen, at that time when I brought it up to them, they're in camp, they're training, they're already being tested, and their lives are being disrupted by the testing. And it's like, okay, let's talk about this later, not now. They haven't said they would never do it. I tried to get them to do it where the day after the fight, they'd be there again to test them. Because that's when I believe most of the drug use occurs. And what people have to understand is these drugs are recovery drugs. So they help you heal and repair and recover from a fight. So 10 days after the fight, put your hook and line in the water, and that's when you're going to catch the fish. And that's when no testing is being done. So I'm exposing as clearly as I can exactly and precisely what barn door is open, what the dimensions are, and what we need to do to close it. Now, I'm a one-man band, okay? So I sponsor as much as I can. I try to make it happen. I would say this, that maybe when I started in boxing in 2012 with the testing, if it was probably as much as 80%, maybe at some point, and now it's 60%, it's still the majority, but is it significantly less? 20% is a reduction. So that's what we're working for. Is it frustrating? Of course it is.
It got to be.
We can.
It has to be very frustrating when I pulled up an interview that you said in 2011 with the same issue that's happening, obviously almost 2020. We're in 2024 now for almost 13 years, and the system is still flawed. How can we be ensured as boxing fans that no fighter is actually being able to circumvent these tests?
So what I tried to tell you earlier is that if you can get these promoters together, and I'll tell you something that Margaret Goodman said in an interview one time that never got published. It was originally done for Netflix, but they didn't use it. But she said, in boxing, the promoters, it's like dealing with the five crime bosses. Okay, you got to get them all together here. So what I'm telling you is based on the announcements and congratulations of VADA, that you've got cooperation between Top Rank and Matchroom, between Matchroom and Queensberry, etc. They're coming together on fights, and they're both being listed, and they're both transparent. And the people that are not willing to come to the table and not willing to be a part of a network together where all the fighters are treated equally, like you have a players union in baseball, and you have representatives in football, and you even have under one roof with UFC. At least they're all together, so you don't have that in boxing. Boxing is the red light district. Boxing is a crazy world. Okay, you know this as a business person. That's so true. Am I wasting my time? Is Margaret Goodman wasting her time? Is Flip Monsky wasting his time? I don't know. We're fighting the good fight. I don't know how to put it.
Well, somebody could misinterpret this, and I definitely need you to clarify, because this is the 5th time. Twice you said it on this interview and 3 times in the last one. You used the word we. I asked you in the last piece that we did, are you intricately involved in VADA? Of course you said no, but you used the word we 5 times. Can you clarify?
Because I mean any and everybody involved in the anti-doping movement in boxing. That's the we.
So I'm a part of the we.
So you're a part of the we.
The Roll the Tape film crew members that's watching live in living color, they're a part of the we.
That's what I mean. I have no financial interest. Now, have I not disclosed that on a number of occasions that I have sponsored boxers, and if you look on their website, they accept sponsorship money. They might even give you a coffee cup. I don't know. But do they accept contributions? Yes. The way I have always done it, and others may not do it this way, is I have a fighter like Nonito who wants to do the testing. We enroll him, and I pay the fee, and then he's tested for a year, and then those results become public.
Fair enough. Would you be able to do that with all the fighters that's under? You muted yourself. You're on mute, Victor. You muted yourself, Victor. Can you hear me? You muted yourself. You put yourself on mute. I don't know if you have somebody else moderating it for you, but you put yourself on mute. That's interesting. There you go. Okay. I was about to say, after you said Nonito Donaires' name, you went on mute, brother. I don't know what happened. I don't know. Like, whoa, what's going on? All right, let's get some super chats in real quick, Vic, because everybody's been dying to ask you some questions. Before I get the first super chat, real quick, you use the term red light district. Right now, people are familiar with that term because you use that in the Netflix documentary. When you're referring to the sport of boxing, is there any other reason why your brand, Snack, will not do any business? Or is it true that you won't do any business in other sports all across the world?
I choose not to.